Initiating broadcast.
All right.
Hey babe, we may have to have that door open for a better signal. I don't know. It's whirling. Can you do that?
Yeah, it usually doesn't matter.
Okay, it looks like we're live, Cassandra.
Okay.
This is Rivka, and I'm here with Cassandra. Cassandra is the other person that was with me the night of the 2nd when I took the photos of the moon. Cassandra, I'm going to make a statement, Cassandra, and if I say anything that's not correct, you correct it, okay? Cassandra and I met the night of the 2nd in Jerusalem in our bed and breakfast room just before I went to go see the moon. And we did not know each other before that. Her husband had visited with my husband online, but personally having any contact with him, we did not have any before that night. And she did accompany me down to the site. And I'm going to let her... Oh, the other thing I want to say is that since the night of the moon, we've had dinner one time, and she's been running all over Israel with spotty internet and spotty cell phone service. So we really haven't... This is our first solid opportunity we've had after I asked her permission to record her interview to sit down and do this. This is not practice. This is not rehearsed. I refused even to talk to her about it. So this is raw. This is her version. Okay, Cassandra, go ahead and tell whatever you want to tell about that night.
Oh, okay. Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, Rivka, for inviting me to chat with you. And what she stated is correct. I did take the time to write something out because there was some details about what happened that evening that I thought would be important to bring forth. That's just my way of doing things.
That's fine.
It wasn't rehearsed. I just kind of wrote it out. So I'm just going to read what I wrote the other day, okay?
Okay.
First of all, my name is Cassandra Conroy, and I wanted to talk for a few minutes about what took place recently regarding the sighting of the new moon in Jerusalem, Israel. September 2nd, which was a Friday. I was still kind of on United States time at that point, so I actually had to go back and look at my calendar to be sure I was on the right day. But it was Erev Shabbat. So, first of all, I am in covenant with the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yisrael, through my trust in Yahushua the Messiah. My husband, Gene, and I have gotten to know Moshe and Becca through Moshe's YouTube channel during the last year. My husband and I planned a trip to Israel back in March of this year, but did not plan on being here for anything significant, at least that we knew of. But we trusted that our Father goes before us, and that whatever He planned, we would trust in Him. So, of course, we had extensive prayer before we departed for our trip. On Friday, September 2nd, we understood that Moshe and Becca would be in Jerusalem, but it was at the last minute. In fact, I don't think we even knew. I think Moshe told us the day before that he would be in Jerusalem the next day. We knew he'd be in Jerusalem at some point, but we didn't know details, and we didn't know if Becca would be with him. So we kind of had an idea that they might be here at some point, but I think it was either Thursday or Friday that we actually knew that Moshe would be in Jerusalem, and then it wasn't until Friday that we knew that his wife would be with him. So that was a nice surprise, but we went to visit them in the early evening. And I'm thinking it was around 4 o'clock or so when we arrived at their bed and breakfast. It was at that point that we learned that Becca was planning on going out to see if she could sight the new moon. I had no knowledge of that beforehand. Of course, it was a nice surprise for me. I asked her if she would mind if I joined her. She said that I was welcome to. My husband and our friend Chuck stayed behind with Moshe as he was experiencing back pain and fatigue from the arduous journey. So Becca and I walked away towards the Knesset, which was
Kinneret. I did the same thing. Kinneret.
No, the Kinneret's to see again.
I'm sorry. There you go. I did it again.
It was a building. Anyway.
Yeah, it was a building, not the sea. I'm sorry.
Yes. And we thought we were walking in that direction. That was what GPS was telling us. I'm unfamiliar with the area, of course, having it been only my second day there. And so we realized at some point that the GPS had us walking in the completely wrong direction. So we then flagged a taxi, which took us to the building that we thought we might get a good vantage point to see the sighting of the moon.
Yes.
The guard there informed us that the building was closed due to it being Erev Shabbat. And we chatted with him, Becca chatted with him for a little bit. He kind of gave us some suggestions on where we might be able to go. We then decided to just walk around in search of a spot which would provide us a decent vantage point to view the new moon. Becca was prepared with a tripod. She had a camera, some binoculars, and an iPhone, or a
smartphone.
mobile phone.
Yes.
And all I had was an iPhone. We prayed that our Father would direct us to a good spot. We both prayed. We saw the Crown Plaza Hotel, and Becca attempted to reach them by phone but was unsuccessful, so we decided not to attempt to walk up there because it was a bit of a hilly walk, just in case they told us that we could not use the roof of their building because of, whatever reason. So along the way, we kept praying, and we saw a construction site. And Becca said that would be an ideal spot. Did I mind snakes and scorpions? She really said that.
I did.
I replied, I said that where I live, snakes and scorpions are common. That is the truth, and I'm used to them, so no problem. So at that point, we walked to the construction site. We looked at the horizon. Becca set up her tripod and camera. She showed me the diagram that are provided to her of the moon's expected location. She's very knowledgeable about that. I am very limited in my knowledge, but she kind of explains how things work with fingers and hands and all of that. And we waited for the sun to go down. Now, during that time, while we were waiting, Becca explained to me that this would be what's known as a hard sighting. And, of course, I was unfamiliar with the term. She explained that it's going to be hard to sight. That's basically what it means. Around 7:15 to 7:20, I'm thinking, she said that she didn't think that it would happen this evening. I remember her saying that, and I'm thinking, well, if the Father wants it to happen, it's going to happen. But I could understand why she said that, because it was nearing the time. I think that there was a very small window at that point where if there was going to be a sighting, that it would happen at all. And It was a little chilly out there, too. Now, as the time drew near, Becca was looking through her binoculars, and I was just scanning the horizon in the direction that we were supposed to be looking. There was kind of, for lack of a better term, there was a stand of trees on the horizon between some buildings. And the stand of trees was pretty distinct. And that was actually the area that the diagram didn't show the trees, but it was that area that if the moon was going to show up, it would be in that area based on, Becca, you can explain about
Just based on where the sun set, measuring with your fingers, yes.
Exactly. So that's where we were looking, because that's where it was expected. It just so happened to be a stand of trees. And they're visible in the picture. So in any event, we were scanning with our eyes. She was scanning with binoculars. I was taking just pictures with my iPhone one after another, just in case I spotted it with my eyes. My iPhone's just an iPhone, but it has a decent camera, but it's not as good as regular cameras. Anyways, as the time drew near, we both continued to search the sky, and at just around 7:30 p.m., Becca spotted the sliver of the moon with her binoculars and then with her bare eyes, or I guess you could say bare eyes. And then at that point, she was prepared to take as many photos as possible, and she just proceeded to do that and then upload them via Wi-Fi. And then I just continued to take pictures with my iPhone in that direction, not knowing if the photos would turn out. I've looked at my photos many times, and they're grainy compared to Rebecca's, and so I don't see any of my pictures that I've looked at actually show the sliver of the moon, but in her picture, it's very clearly the sliver of the moon that was captured that night, and it's kind of pink, and it's right just above where that stand of trees is. In fact, it's on the, of all the trees that were there that we could see, it was like touching the top of the leftmost tree.
Right,
so
right.
it was kind of neat to see that because you know, when Becca spotted it, she said to me, "Oh, it's like touching the top of the trees." And so I'm looking at all the trees, and so that was quite beautiful. But I feel like the father, that's just my own perspective, I feel like he provided a landmark.
Right.
Now, you know,
did Nehemiah, did you speak to Nehemiah when he called me?
Yes, after we packed up, first of all, once it was spotted and the pictures were taken and they were loaded, this was all very quick. I remember Becca asked me, you know, what time is it, Cassandra? And I told her, well, it was like 7:31, maybe 7:32, so we figured the time that it was sighted was like 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
So
because I had already put my binoculars down and switched to the camera, so there had been a little time lapse because I was just so shocked we had seen it.
Exactly. And, you know, it was happening so fast, and as we were preparing to, you know, when it was getting closer to the time we expected to see it, we were very intently watching the horizon, and we were keeping chit-chat to a minimum.
Right.
I mean, that's what we were focused on. And so when she actually said she spotted it was very quick, and she was taking pictures, I was taking pictures, and then it was like maybe a minute or two, and she said, "What time is it?" And we figured it was like it had to be 7:30.
Right.
Maybe at the earliest 7:28, 7:29. It's just that things were going very fast. So
right.
It was it was visible for a very brief period of time. It seemed as if maybe less than a minute or two.
Right.
That's just my estimation. So with that said, after we packed everything back up, and proceeded to walk back home or to the Airbnb, the B&B. You know, I guess Nehemiah placed a call to you, Becca?
Yes,
or
he did. My phone rang.
That's right. Okay. So he chatted with her for a little bit. She was explaining to him what she saw, what took place. Then she asked me if I would mind talking with him, and I said no problem. He asked my name, he asked the spelling of it, and then he asked for my testimony, and it probably lasted maybe a minute or two on the phone with him. It wasn't very long, and that was that.
Right.
So that's all I can say. The only thing that I wanted to say in addition, when I was preparing to talk about this, I was praying a lot to the Father about the situation, and I just asked him if there were some words that I could speak, and I got led to a few scriptures that seem to be highlighted, and I'm just going to say them. The first one is from Isaiah or Yeshayahu, chapter 44. And it goes from verse 5 to verse 9 for your reference. It says this, "One shall say, I am Yahuwah, and another shall call himself by the name of Jacob, and another shall write with his hand unto Yahuwah, and name himself by the name of Yisrael." This says Yahuwah, the Melech, that's the king of Yisrael, and his Redeemer, Yahuwah Sebaot. "I am the first, and I am the last, and beside me there is no Elohim. And who is like me? Let him call and declare it, and lay it before me, since I appointed the ancient people. and the things that are coming and shall come, let them show these things to them. Fear not, neither be afraid. Have not I told you from that time and have declared it? You are even my witnesses. Is there an Eloah beside me? Yes, there is no rock beside me. I know not of anyone. They that make a graven image, all of them are vanity, and their delights shall not profit. And they are their own witnesses. They see not, neither know anything, that they may be ashamed. The other scriptures that I was led to read are from the book of John, and I'm not going to read all of them. I'm just going to give you some references. Something that was really weighing on my heart is that Yeshua said a really beautiful prayer for us, for all of his people that trust in him. And he spoke to his Father in John chapter 17. And sorry, I don't have my regular glasses with me, so these glasses are slipping off my face. So and I'll just reference, I'll just give you that reference point. If everybody wants to take the time to go read John chapter 17, the whole prayer that Yeshua said to the Abba is recorded there. And in particular, he prayed for us. He prayed for all of us that are in him, that we would be ahad, that we would be one with each other as he is in the Father. So, with that said, I feel honored that Abba arranged this for Becca. She has put the hard work in. She has been fighting the new moon for many, many months. She's done her homework. She's obviously been praying all along the way, and
we prayed a lot during too. Even during taking pictures, I can remember praying for the Father, Abba, to help me get a good photo. I can remember that we prayed.
Yes, absolutely, the whole time.
Yes.
The whole time during, before, during, and after. And I believe that the Father has established his own witnesses that he created from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Everything in the heavens and the earth he has established to point to him and to his Son and to his redemptive plan. And even Yeshua says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. And if you knew the Father, you'd know me, you'd recognize me, and if you know me, you'd see the Father.
Right.
In other words, how can we say that we know the Father if we don't confess the Son? And of course, it's a learning process. But even the fact that we confess Yeshua as our Messiah, as our Redeemer, as our Master, that's important. And he prayed for us that we would have great joy, even in this world. That's one thing that I noted about the prayer is that Yeshua talked about the fact that we're in this called Olam Hazeh, in this world, in this age. That's the realm that we live in, but we are of Him, and so we're in this realm, so to speak. And He said to the Father, to the Abba, He didn't pray that we would be taken out. He prayed that we would have simcha, that we would have great joy and rejoicing in Him because of Him, and that He keeps us in Him, and He keeps us ahad in Him with each other. And I feel honored that He provided us this trip to Israel, which is a miracle. And truly the fact that I even had an opportunity to go with Becca is it was a surprise. It's a gift, and I consider it an honor to have accompanied her. And I appreciate you for letting me go and be a witness. And I don't know why your witness, especially with that picture, could be discredited. It's one thing to call into question somebody's verbal witness, but I don't even know how that can be dismissed, because It just doesn't make any sense. But that's all I'll say about that.
And we don't. If we made a statement, it would be just be guessing and assuming. And I don't want to get into that. I know you don't either. What was important was that the world heard from both witnesses that the Father provided for that night in their own words what happened. And I just want to say here on the air with you now, Cassandra, that for me, the work is done. I have been faithful to the Father. I have done my best to represent him in this situation. I've been very diligent. I've told everything without embellishment. And now I leave it all in his hands. Past this, he will fight for his witness, okay, his signs in the skies, and his witnesses here on this earth, you and I, okay? My trust, and I'm sure yours is too, is in him at this point. And he will do with this witness now as he sees fit.
Absolutely. Amen.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
honey, you're on vacation, and I don't want to keep you anymore. You've been so kind to take time out. And you're at the beach, no less. Go enjoy the water and have fun.
No, I'm actually not physically at the beach. I thought that would be a little. No, I'm just kidding. We're at the area where there's a beach, but no, I wanted to stay in a quiet place where we could chat and not have any noise surrounding us. But no, this is very, very important. So
thank you. It was.
It just was a little bit tricky getting in touch with each other. My apologies for that. With all the travel and the situation with the phone and the Wi-Fi.
And my school with Ulpan, it's been a real, but the Father's timing is always perfect. So we rest in that. It's been achieved, and he is good.
Yes, he is good, without a doubt. He is good, and I feel very grateful to him that he guards over us, and that in the midst of even, he says, hey, you're going to have tribulation in this world. That's just the way it is, but our trust is in him. Our joy is in him.
Yeah.
We can trust that as he leads each one of us, that he leads us in the path of his righteousness for his name's sake, for his reputation. Yes. And that, though we may not be perfect, we do the best that we can to honor him in our lives and to treat each other with respect and love and faithfulness like he treats us, and with kindness and mercy. And that's the way I see it. So you know what? You have a good point, too. There's really no point in trying to defend ourselves, because the Father will do as he sees fit.
That's
and, his witnesses are true.
Yes,
so
that's right. That's right.
We'll leave it in his hands, and but I just want to recognize that you have done your homework, and you've been faithful to do what the Father has called you to do. And each one of us needs to ask the Father, what is my role in your kingdom? And just do whatever that is to the best of our ability. It may not always be clear to us. We ask him to lead us, but we know that if we search his word and listen intently to his voice, that he will always lead us in the right direction.
Yes, he will. Yes, he will. Okay, so everybody, she's using her minutes on her personal cell phone. I'm going to say to you, Chag Sameach, have a great Tabernacles week. Enjoy your last bit of time in Israel, and we'll get together when you get back stateside.
You too, my friend, my sister in Yeshua, and thank you so much for everything. And thank you for taking the time to do this. And to everybody out there, same, shalom, and Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. We'll talk later, hon.
Okay.